Hello everyone. Today I uploaded the three videos on Bhagavad Gita Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 7. I'll be talking on the meanings of that and understanding the goals of Nasati Advaita movement in this video. And also we'll be talking about in detail just three first goals. That's the mindfulness tips and the youth forum empowerment, youth empowerment, and the family forum thing. So let's talk on that now. So let me recap the three mindfulness tips that we had discussed in the last three sessions. The first one was breathing. So you sit straight if possible, erect, and then take a deep breath in. And then when you're breathing out, do it a little slowly. It could be increased slowly as per your convenience. Do not please overdo it. It could be done maximum maybe 1.5 or twice. So you breathe in, if you breathe in like for 10 seconds, you breathe out for 20 seconds. That's the maximum you can do. And then that's what the first mindfulness tip that I gave. This will help you calm down immediately if you do a couple of times. And then the second one, the mindfulness tip was for gratitude. That's very important. A person cannot feel sad all the time. So they will be happy during some time, and they can really, think about some happy moments, some moments which will give them gratitude. You can be happy for being alive, right? You can be happy for looking out and enjoying the nature. Go and look at the stars, sky, then admire. This is there are a lot of hobbies people will have. If not, just think of any good things, pleasant things that have happened. Make a list of it, note it down, and then to the gratitude at that time, right? So this is the things that you got to do when you're doing an action. So I'll be talking about the fourth mindfulness tip in the next session coming up every Saturday. So the next one coming up is this Saturday at 6:30 to 7:30 evening and Pacific Standard Time, and then that will be morning 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Indian Standard Time. So let's step into the third part, which is a little bit complex. The third mindfulness tip was viveka. That means clear distinction between doing the right thing and wrong thing. It's very related to the consciousness that conscience that you have within you. But there's a slight distinction between these two. So viveka is like figure out what's the right and wrong in an action, and then do the right action, and then you got to make sure that you are dispassionate towards the action also, as well as dispassionate towards the untruth of that. So take only the truth part of the action and then do it right. The wrong part, leave it out. Even the right part, when you're doing it, do it as a sacrifice. That's what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So these are the verses in chapter 4, verse 16, 17, and 18, which I uploaded. And the chapter 3, verses 8 to 11. And then there's another video that I uploaded for chapter 7, verses 4 and 5. So let's talk in detail about the action and inaction and inaction in action. So that's kind of really, really complex. That I'll be talking more in detail in the next session. That's going to be really exciting. But let me give a brief overview of that here so that you can understand the third mindfulness tip along with the fourth one, right? So you've got to figure out exactly how to do that action with the right intention. So again, any action is the end part. The first would start with the intention, right? Intention, then you have your beliefs, you have your feelings, you have your thoughts coming in and all. So then action is just the end part of it. So you got to make sure that the intentions are correct here, and and the beliefs are correct also. Beliefs can be wrong. So belief and faith are really important. There's a difference between belief and faith. Faith is something that you have already experienced. Belief is something that could be wrong, right? So let's talk more on that. I'll give an example, as I said. So let's suppose a person who is driving without an insurance in a new country, okay, and then he is a very good driver. He's a very clever, very nice. He has good driving experience, but he's very poor and he cannot take an insurance here. and he's driving without insurance in a country, and he doesn't want to get caught by cops. But there's some occasions where you do want your cop to be behind you because suppose you are lost in a jungle or someplace, right, where you don't have your phone, where you want when you see a cop coming in to help you, that's where you want the cop. But this example here, when the person is driving without an insurance, he would not want to have any cops around him, right? So that's an example which would explain the action and inaction, and inaction and inaction now. So let's see how it was. So suppose you have to drive that. You have to go in a car, right? You have to drive in the country. So he's always looking around, but that person would not be the same way driving in his country, where he was a very good driver, excellent driver for 20 years, but here he's a scared person here. I mean, he wouldn't be driving properly. He would be like scared. His mind would not be calm, and the three steps that I gave. That person should not use this, but I'm just giving an example here. He should get insurance. That's what I would say. But as an example here, the breathing calms him down, definitely. The second tip is the gratitude, in action. Suppose you see a cop coming in, and right behind you, so, and then he passes by you, but feel the gratitude that he didn't catch you, right? But again, in the end, you have the faith in yourself that you can drive without any accident here. But you never know. I mean, you got to have an insurance, and you should not drive with insurance. So these are the beliefs that you have, right? The belief could be wrong. The cop can come behind you and catch you, and then you'll be suffering the consequences of that. So, but if you have a faith in yourself, a faith in your religion, and faith in your experience that you can go without being caught, that's another thing. So here he's doing an action that's driving the car, and then he has that faith. Suppose he's like, his faith is taking over him, right? It's not that's the faith in himself or a faith in religion, or so he has an experience that he can drive, frankly. So that's a faith. So this is actually, if he doesn't have that faith in himself or that driver, even after the first two steps, like the breathing and the gratitude that he has, but if he cannot distinguish between the things properly to take the right action, right? If with no faith, it's going to be very difficult for that person to drive anywhere, right? So this is what I was talking about. Let me talk in detail in the next classes, next session on this Saturday at 6:30 to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. Let's talk now about another one. And that other thing, you should not text while driving. You cannot become so overconfident, the ego, right? That's one thing. And then the last part which I want to talk here is very important. The faith in a religion is being exploited with social media by vested interests, and then they're brainwashing the youth into that, becoming terrorists, and becoming so good in their capabilities that they are using a wrong action, worst one, which could be like killing a person, right, in the name of religion. That is wrong. That has to stop. That actually is going to be one of the objectives of NAM. The person, everybody, I'm sure, no religion will talk on killing anybody else in the name of religion, right? So, but NAM is all about a non-aligned movement. We have actually a lot of people who are interested in this, but mostly I'll be talking only on the scriptures that are there at the time of creation, and Bhagavad Gita was also one of the scriptures at the time of creation. So let me step back and see if I have covered everything here now. Yes. So let me talk a little bit more on the next part 2 of this video, which is going to be on the next 2 goals. that's creating peace and harmony and happiness within you. And a person with wrong belief, a person doing a wrong thing, a wrong action, will regret. No matter what, they'll have to be consequences, and they're always afraid of it. They are so it's not the way to be happy. So it is for a normal youth who is getting brainwashed, uh, this is not the way to go. So let me talk about the youth empowerment here in this kind of thing, right? The youth empowerment is very important. People getting the right ideas about technological and spiritual interactions, intersections. Uh, that's the first goal, and they have actually every week they'll be getting a new idea about a career development that they can take up, and new technological inventions that are happening here based on spirituality and the scriptures that are present at the time of creation. So that's youth empowerment. And then the family forum, even adults who are like laid off these days, they could benefit from these new things. They can find a purpose in life and take up that kind of job instead of just taking any other thing, right? So the fourth session, which I will be talking this Saturday, is very important. It's actually, I'll be introducing a person who wrote his last chapter of the book, and he said in that, which was really, really moved me: aspire to inspire before you expire. And he was on his deathbed, and he wrote the last chapter of the book in the hospital, where his everything was going to be stopped the next day, a ventilator and stuff like that. And then he came up on a stage and talked about his book 10 years after that. All right, it's going to be very interesting. Hope you guys join me again this Saturday for the fourth session. So let me see if I've covered everything here. Yes, so let me give a brief description of the three videos that I uploaded here today. That's chapter 4, verses 16, 17, and 18. And that's going to be this. So, verse 16 says, "What is action and what is inaction? Even men of intelligence are puzzled over this question. Therefore, I shall expound to you the truth about action, knowing which you will be freed from its evil effects, the binding nature." The verse 17 says, "The truth about action must be known, and the truth of inaction also must be known. Even so, the truth about prohibited action must be known." That's killing a person, texting while driving. That's an example of that. So those are prohibited actions. They must be known. For mysterious are the ways of action. So this is the very, very confused part of the scriptures, where people are not really sure about this. I'll be talking more on this in the next session too. It's the doctrine of karma, the fate, or whatever you want to call it, when taking actions and all stuff. So it's a very complex thing, but let me briefly explain it later on in the next session, or the coming sessions. So I'll be doing that. So the verse 18 says, "He who sees inaction in action, and action in action in inaction." So it's inaction in action. He who sees that, and action in inaction, is wise among men, and he's a yogi who has performed all actions. It's not the dog yoga or goat yoga, whatever these things are happening these days. So it's he's the true yogi here. So I hope people who are doing that understand that even though it's not copyrighted, there's some responsibility to be taken care of, and naming some things like that. All right. So this is the chapter 4, verse 16 to 17. 16, 17, 18. Let me talk about chapter 3, verse 8 and 11. Chapter 3, verse 8 and 11 says, 8 to 11 would be talking on the action again. So it says, verse 11 says that, "Foster the gods through this sacrifice, and let gods be gracious to you, each fostering other disinterestedly, you'll attain the highest good. So doing an action as a sacrifice is what Lord Krishna is talking about here, and it's you know it's very important. So you have to do all your duties, perform duties and all in desisting from action, which you cannot, you know, um you cannot even maintain your body here, right? It's kind of so. The verse 8 says here, chapter 3, verse 8 says that, therefore, do you perform your allotted duty, for action is superior to inaction. Desisting from action, you cannot even maintain your body. So that person had to drive the car without insurance in the new country, and he had to take that action, but then he cannot sit quiet and he has to work, right? So those kind of things, example. But again, let me talk about verse number 9. Man is bound by his own action, except when it is performed for the sake of sacrifice. Therefore, Arjuna, do you efficiently perform your duty? Here, free from attachment, for the sake of sacrifice alone. And then he says, having created mankind along with the spirit of sacrifice at the beginning of creation, the Creator Brahma said to them, you shall prosper by this. May this yield the enjoyment you seek. So the action has to give you some enjoyment, right? Not the wrong action. Even that gives, but that's not the way to live happily. Because there'll be consequences later on. There'll be egos and stuff, right? So that we're talking in the next verse here, chapter 7. But let me talk about the verse 11, which I already said. Foster the gods through the sacrifice, and let the gods be gracious to you. Each fostering others disinterestedly will attain the highest good. So this is the inaction in action and action in action. So, all right, let's talk about the chapter 7, verse 4 and 5. It says, earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, reason, and also ego, they constitute the my nature eightfold divided, but this is the lower part. So Lord Krishna is talking about two parts of his nature. One is the material part. This is called the Prakriti Ashtaka. That is the eightfold Prakriti, consists of the 5 elements, that's space, air, fire, water, and earth, and then the mind, intellect, and ego. That's reasoning. So this is the 8 material things. So even ego is there in that. So remember, that person is driving. Oh, I didn't get caught here. It's like, getting faith in himself. Instead of having the faith in a wrong belief, wrong intention, that person should definitely get an insurance, right? That's what I would say. All right. So then Lord Krishna talks about the chapter 7, verse 5. He's talking about the higher spiritual part of it. So in that he says, other than this, by which the whole universe is sustained, know it to be my higher or spiritual nature in the form of Jiva, life principle, Arjuna. So these are the chapter 7, verse 4 and 5, which I uploaded today. I hope you guys join again this Saturday, coming up at 6:30 to 7:30, and this channel will be live every Saturday, and which will be Sunday in the morning at 8 to 9 at Indian Standard Time in India. Let me briefly talk about the part 2 of this video, which is going to be on the technological intersection with spirituality, the new innovations that are happening based on spirituality, and then the other part would be the peace and harmony and happiness that you're going to find within you by changing each by one, the world is going to become better, right? That's another goal of Nam. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, please subscribe, and then see you again in the part 2 of this video. Thank you. Bye.